Perfecting and Reforming Personal Religion, Chapter 12, Breakdown. And in the previous chapter, ending on the beauty of our faith's trial. And the beauty of our faith's trial being the struggle of our faith's resurrection, because that's really what it comes down to, is our faith's now desired inclination to regenerate or to resurrect from its former self. This is the advice that Paul gives in the book of Ephesians. Put off concerning your former conversation the old man, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and put on the new man, which after God is created. And so the heart of the controversy within the scriptures is our conversation. The heart of the controversy, the heart of the matter, the fact of the matter is our conversation's condition. And the beauty of our faith's trial, taking joy in that, means taking joy in one, accepting the condition of our conversation, and two, accepting what it now must do for its own self. Repeatedly. And this work is called Perfecting and Reforming Personal Religion, because the issue is the conversation's resurrection. From Genesis to the Revelation, the main philosophy is the regeneration of our conversation's thoughts and feelings. You can go to Romans 12, verse 2. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Just quoted Ephesians. Be renewed in the spirit of your mind. You can go to 1 Peter 4:6. Live according to God in the spirit. The transition is from the physical stuff to what is mental and inward. And it is that transition that absolutely sucks, because we've spent a number of years dedicating our faith's confidence to a physical religion, to physical theories, to physical insights that have absolutely nothing to do with insights from within extending without. And that's the beauty of this process of growth and development. The beauty is the pain. The beauty is the pain. Finding pain enjoyable due to the outcome, or due to the anticipated outcome that we would have, is the joy. And that leads perfectly into the next chapter, which does open with the quote, "He is a Jew, which is one inwardly, and circumcision is that within the heart of the Spirit." So this is just continuing the train of thought. It is this level of, or this type of circumcision, and the illustration is beyond fitting, because you go from a physical circumcision, now it's mental. And even when it was a physical circumcision, plenty of times Jeremiah or Isaiah would say, "Circumcise your hearts." So even back then, the physical stuff was intended to point to what was supposed to go on within the conversation. And moving on in this chapter, we find Daniel quoted as giving one of the best ways to do this, to enjoy that experience, or to make sense of it better, when he says to the king, "Break off your sin by righteousness," which allows us to understand that righteousness is not necessarily a feeling or whatever we may perceive it to be, that righteousness is actually an act, or is a service. And so there's a breakdown that Paul gives to the Corinthians of the ministration of death and then the ministration of righteousness. In this ministration of death, it was that the individual conversation was ruled by what was handwritten, Now, this has passed away, and it is called death because it numbed the individual to themselves. It numbed the individual to themselves and to their experience, and it numbed their conscience, their conversation's conscience to its experience, but it inflamed the human being. And that's why it is called death, because the human being is become the primary object. Now, the administration of righteousness is absolutely contrary to this. Because in the administration of righteousness, there is no subjection under what is handwritten. There is an experience so that what is within can grow and develop. In the administration of righteousness, the conversation is the subject first, and then secondarily, the human being becomes the object of affection. Administration of death, there is no thought of the conversation at all. It is but vainly. The act of doing deeds for a stimulus for the human being to feel that it is divinely favored is what the ministration of death focuses on, and what we, even though this should not still be going on, but that's what traditional religion is all about, yet and still. Despite the foundational offering that was given to put all of that to rest, it is still going on when it shouldn't. What should be going on is the correct understanding of righteousness. And paragraph 5 lets us know that righteousness is a course of learning to purge the conscience from dead works. These dead works are from the ministration of death. These dead works are honoring the deity, whatever we believe the deity to be, honoring that by deeds and acts, by rituals, by baptisms, by theories, and so on and so forth, handwritten by human beings. Our conversation is to be purged. Our conversation's conscience is to be purged from such manners of devotion, and to take on a new approach, which is an approach that is entirely inward and mental. Entirely inward and mental for the purpose of retaining wisdom to then act out. There's not a writing telling us what to act out. There is nothing around our neck reminding us what to act out. There's nothing that we have to listen to every morning, evening, night to remind us what to act out. What to act out is engraved within our heart and within our mind from the experience of our faith's growth and development. This course of learning called righteousness, in paragraph 7 now, should we do this sincerely? We receive its gift, and its gift is grace. Grace is the gift of righteousness because it is the balm, it is the seal of that service. That service of righteousness is the renewing of our conversation for the renewing of our human being. To make this service easy or better, or for us to be able to receive knowledge on how to assist our own self through it, grace is given. Grace is the medicine that our conversation's conscience needs and receives in order to be able to retain an understanding of how to operate itself. Grace is that sure food for our faith in order for it to understand how to behave, how to regulate its experience, how to channel its experience properly. And it is from grace, and we find in paragraph 9, that we experience the renewal in understanding or in knowledge to amend our own ways. That's paragraph 8 and 9 combined. And that's honestly what the experience is about and why it feels so treacherous. It feels so uncomfortable because literally it is uncomfortable for our human being. We have been leading a religious experience from the point of our human being, and we have been thinking that it has been our inward person that's been leading the experience. Seeing that our human being has been falsely leading our spiritual experience will hurt tremendously. All of the theories we have, all of the routines we did, all of the beliefs we have, everything that we think, everything that we imagine, everything connected to our belief, when we realize that initially it has been a human experience and not an inward experience, it will break us. And truth be told, it's supposed to break us. It's supposed to break us so that we can realize that there is a separation between our human being and the being within. It's supposed to break us. We are supposed to feel hurt, and not hurt and disappointed that what I have believed thus far is false. That's a part of it. But the hurt is supposed to come from the fact that I have been misguiding my own self thus far. I am broken over me. I am broken over me. So when we allow ourselves to actually confess this is in plenty of Psalms, that the brokenness of our heart will not go ignored. As a matter of fact, if we are able to have enough humility to confess to the brokenness of our own heart, to our own self, this is a prayer that the living God will hear. This is a prayer confessing our sincere desire to get well. And this is how the process, still I can't get away from this word, justification. This is how the process of justification takes place. It is not our human being that is to go through some sort of something, but it is our conversation that is to be baptized. It is our conversation that is to be baptized. And that baptism does not happen through literal water. Literal water can do nothing, as even Peter himself says in chapter 3. Literal baptism is nothing but to add confidence to the conscience, doing nothing for the well-being. But in the book of Ephesians, we are told that washing is to be with the washing of water of the word. So the more time that we allow our faith to spend with the scriptures, while in the condition of confessing to ourselves our brokenness, this is how the intended baptism or circumcision takes place. And this is what it means to be, as the chapter says, established by righteousness. The righteousness to be established by is actually a service, a benevolent act on the part of the living God, observing the sincere conversation's brokenness. And this is important because if we remain without this experience of brokenness, if we remain without giving our faith the opportunity to breathe and to feel itself, then in paragraph 10 we fulfill the saying that my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And then in paragraph 12, by failing to go through this experience, we do not have an understanding and are liable to forget that our faith is not our own. So that point of being broken, it's not for us to say, I'm stupid. It's that point of being broken, it's not for us to say, my mom is wrong, my pastor is wrong, this website thing is wrong, this book is wrong, church is wrong, it's all wrong, we're all gonna blow up. Like that's not what that's calling for. It's for you, for I, to acknowledge the wrong that we have been towards, one, the mind inspiring the scriptures, and two, our conversations, thoughts, and feelings. For the sake of our human experience, we jeopardized our faith's thoughts and feelings. We didn't realize it in the moment, but now that we do, and willingly acknowledge it, there is a sorrow. and that sorrow absolutely kills, because everything that we've known is now becoming absolute trash. And it's becoming absolute trash not just because it's become absolute trash, but because we might not be able to articulate it or to voice it properly. But it's absolute trash because our faith has been, in a sense, oppressed. We have been enslaving ourselves this entire time to a religious experience confined to our human being. That is the revelation we need to be having. That is the correct revelation to have. That's the correct revelation to have, because that allows us to now feel for ourselves in a way that we've never felt before, and to do something about that feeling, allowing that re-education to move into where it's supposed to move. And where is it supposed to move? Paragraph 17 allows us to know that it is supposed to move into the virtue of the living God's chief apostle, and the virtue of his conversation. Owning the conversation of the living God's chief apostle is the goal. And we can't do that without experiencing what this same individual experienced within his own self. The whole point is creation. The creation of the conversation. Allowing a conversation to be fashioned according to the living God's chief apostles, his conversation, and according to the living God's devotional character. Now, this re-education is not an easy one, but that is what perfecting and reforming our personal religion is absolutely about.